These 5 laws I'm going to share with you today are going to really stick out. These are the 5 most important foundational concepts to understand if you really want to transform your life. And I'm going to make more videos coming up, and I'm actually going to launch a little mini course pretty soon of 15 core laws that to me are just the laws you absolutely have to know if you want to transform your life. Because really, as we're going to get into, transforming your life, my friend, has to do with transforming yourself. Nothing in your life changes without you changing. You might get lucky, people get lucky here and there, that can happen. But generally, if you want to have something to bet on, you don't want to bet on luck. You want to bet on real laws that affect every single human being. The future is always uncertain. So I can't tell you right here, if you apply these, you're guaranteed to be a millionaire. You're guaranteed to do this. But what these are going to do is it's going to give you a framework for you to know for sure that you're doing everything you can do. Because if you apply all of these laws and you don't end up getting what you initially wanted, then to me, that's just life or the universe or God saying it's not meant for you. And that's okay, because one of the laws I didn't put on here actually has to do with us surrendering to what God wants us to do. Oftentimes what we prefer, what we think we want, isn't what we actually are meant to be doing in this life. And oftentimes those desires, they just come from ego. They come from ego. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you paused and thought, is this all there is to life? You know, what do I really want to be doing? Like, 'cause I'm just unhappy at my job, man. Or this relationship is just so unfulfilling, but I feel stuck. These laws are going to help you feel unstuck, and they're going to help you have a clear path forward. So really briefly here, we're going to go through the very first law and what many teachers have called the primary law, which is the law of vibration. The law of vibration basically says that everything is in constant flux or movement. Nothing is at rest. And so you, me, the chairs behind me, the wall behind me, this whiteboard, and you and me, we're vibrating. Now we're vibrating very, very, very quickly, but we appear to be solid. But you have to start to view yourself like this little guy right here. He's actually just a vibrating being, and I put these little vibrations outside of him, but really they are all through him. In fact, they are him. So once you start to understand that you're a being that vibrates, you stop just seeing yourself as matter or physical matter. You start to see yourself, experience yourself as more energy. And what this does is something really profound. You see, because when we identify with our physical bodies and our mental forms, what happens is we start to believe that behavior is the only change we need to make. We focus so much on behavior. I need to, make more sales calls. I need to post more content. I need to talk to more pretty girls to get the relationship I want. Now, while all those things are awesome, obviously those things help. The law of vibration shows us an inner game that we can start to work on. Because when you change your own vibration, you start to find other things around you start to match you. Like, for example, have you ever been just pissed off and for some reason the grocery store clerk pisses you off, or for some reason your partner just pisses you off? You don't even know why, just everyone seems to be bothering you. And what's actually happening in this moment is people around you are starting to reflect back to you the energy that you're giving out to them. It's pretty cool. And so if you find yourself feeling angry at the world is going to get angry back at you. Now this is the law of vibration and the law of attraction, actually, which I'm going to get to in a second. The law of vibration is more just setting the foundation of everything is vibrating, and you attract similar things that match the frequency that you're vibrating at. This law tells you that you attract like things. If you put out good energy comes back. It's kind of similar to the law of karma, you could say. And there's the movie The Secret that came out, awesome movie. It kind of painted the law of attraction like it's the only law. And it's a very, very powerful one. You want to put out good energy, you want to think about what you want, because when you think about what you want, your brain has a sort of target now it can focus on and it can go towards. So that's to me what the law of attraction is. It's about giving your brain and your nervous system a target to go towards. And what you'll find happens is you'll start to notice and hear things that you didn't notice or hear before. You're going to start to have ideas that you didn't have before. And people are going to start coming into your life and reflecting back to you the energy that you're putting out. It's a pretty cool thing. This is something that's to me works a lot with consistency. Consistently putting out that energy, you'll consistently find things coming back to you, but it's not like I'm going to be nice to people one time and expect to make friends. No, you want to be nice to people consistently and you'll find you'll make more friends. Don't you kind of see this happening in your life? So if you start to put these pictures in your mind of what you want, not what you don't want, then what's going to happen is your brain's going to get hyper-focused on going towards that. Because your brain just needs to know what to work on. It just needs to know what you're going towards, and it's going to get you where you want to go. These 2 laws are the ones that most people talk about, but there's a few other laws I want to share with you as well. This is the next law, the law of mentalism. This is an interesting law, and I didn't actually know it was called this law until I started researching into this. What this law basically states is that the universe is a mental projection. Now, this is a really deep concept that I probably can't explain very well, but I recommend you look into this law, the law of mentalism, and start to understand how what you see around you is really just a projection of your mind. What comes up for me is, if I'm talking to somebody, I actually realize that I don't see you. I don't see that person. I'm seeing what my mental projection is of that person. For example, there's light bouncing off of them, the sunlight bouncing off. It comes through my retinas and I'm experiencing them right here. So I'm projecting out what I'm experiencing. And that's true with everything. The whole universe is, it's so funny. Whenever I start to explain this, I just start to realize how much I don't know about the universe. Basically, the idea is that whatever is inside of you is going to be projected out onto the universe. So this law is all about as within, so without. As above, so below. As within, so without. So again, it's very similar to the law of attraction. All of these laws are basically setting the foundation of you can create what you want in your life and you actually have control over what, over the results you get in your life. You have a lot of influence over that. Okay, so the law of mentalism is basically as within, so without. So my question to you would be, what kind of thoughts do you have? What kind of emotions do you have? What are the consistent experiences you're having in your body, right? What are the feelings? Because as within, so without, if you start to look out into the world and you see a world that's just super full of assholes and it's unsafe and there's bad people, well, you're gonna attract a lot of assholes and bad people. So like, for example, many of you guys know I'm a coach. And by the way, my name is Brett Bailey, I'm a men's coach. I should have started the video with that. But, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people, and there's certain clients you find that it's almost like there's something in them that likes negativity and drama because they just keep attracting it. It's like week after week on our coaching sessions, they'll come back and they'll be like, yeah, I got in another fight at the bar. Or, I had this horrible argument with someone. And oftentimes their language will paint themselves as the victim. And they'll say, it wasn't my fault. I did this. And they wanted to fight me for some reason. And there's something about, listen, not everything negative that happens to you is because you weren't thinking positively enough, okay? But there is something to be said for certain energy that we put out that attracts like energy back. And I've just noticed there's certain people, they just seem to attract bad shit. They seem to always be the ones in these dramatic relationships. They seem to be always the ones that have these problems. They seem to be always the ones that keep getting hurt by their friends. And it's like, well, you know what, bro? You're the common theme in all these relationships. You've had many different people, but you've been the one common theme. So maybe look at yourself. And so, again, that sucks because it's like, I'm responsible, but then it's great because it's like, I'm responsible. That means I can change it. That's always the thing. You want to be responsible. And this is like the classic fucking grandpa thing to say, be responsible. That's so boring. Be responsible. I want to live free. I don't want to think about responsibility. I just want to do what I want to do. Well, good for you, man. But guess what? Being responsible makes your life so much fucking better. You want to have a good life? Take responsibility for it. Because if you don't, you're going to be at the whim of things outside of you. People, situations, governments. You're going to feel out of control and it's going to make you feel helpless, hopeless, depressed. The most depressed people are oftentimes the ones who take the least responsibility for their life. The most anxious people are oftentimes the people who take the least responsibility for their life. Not always, and it's definitely more on the depressed side, I've noticed. But really, if you want to live a great life, you got to take responsibility for it. Okay? And these laws help you realize just how much power and responsibility you have. Responsibility is just the ability to respond. And these laws tell you just how much of that ability you have. Okay, moving on to the next one, cause and effect. Now this one's going to be very, very easy to understand because we've already been raised in an education system that taught us this model of thinking. We were taught the model of thinking of cause and effect. Matter trying to change matter, as Joe Dispenza would say. This model is basically you do things and then your inputs create outputs. You do things and then things happen. So if you consistently show up with a certain energy in your business and you do certain habits consistently, there will be an effect. Those are causes leading to ultimate effects. And the decisions you're making today in your life have effects 20 years down the road, right? And for some of you, that's like, holy shit, that's scary. But think about it. The decisions that you make today affect you today, which affect you tomorrow, which affect you the next day, and so on and so forth. And if you make really good decisions, if you show up consistently and make good decisions, well, the effects of that are going to be clear down the road. Doesn't mean everything's going to go your way, but what it does mean is that you have control. You're in the driver's seat. You can actually do things. You can set forces in motion. As Steve Jobs said once, you can, poke on this side and something's going to pop out on the other side. You got some agency, right? So cause and effect. And the last one is the law of free will. So humans were given this, animals for the most part were not. There's probably some research out there how animals have a certain amount of free will, maybe like 10%, but we got like, proper free will going on here. And this whole conversation about free will, listen, there's tons of different perspectives on this, but what I will say is that it's pretty hard to escape the idea that we have free will to make choices, certainly about what to think and feel, but also about what we do and how we behave, how we respond to life. Everybody's gonna have horrible things happen, but it's how we respond that changes the whole game. Even if you're in a place now where you feel stuck in your business or stuck in a relationship, well, guess what? That is all happening because of these laws first and foremost, cause and effect. How have you been showing up that's been creating these types of relationships? What energy have you been putting out there? What mental world have you been projecting? Now, all of these questions are great, but really it comes down to me, to free will. And I'm gonna give you guys 3 things that you can choose to do to start to use these laws to your advantage, okay? And not being hurt by these laws, not being consistently fucked over by these laws that you should be using to help yourself, okay? So when it comes to free will, you wanna think about these 3 decisions. The first decision you wanna make is what you're going to notice, right? What you're gonna pay attention to. What you're gonna focus your energy on, what you're gonna perceive, what you're gonna look at, right? Use your free will to notice things. You wanna choose what you're focusing on, choose what you notice, because everything else you leave out. Your brain has this incredible ability to delete information in your environment and just focus on what you're looking at. Now, if you've been hurt in the past, you're likely gonna look for things that you can avoid. So for example, if someone were to public speak and feel nervous, they're deleting all the reasons that they could feel confident. And they're noticing all the reasons they should be afraid. I might get rejected, people may not like it, as opposed to focusing on, I'm here to serve these people, this is gonna be fun, I've done my homework, I've practiced this. And so they get nervous just because of what they're noticing, what they're focusing on. Now the second thing you wanna use your free will on is your beliefs. Another word for this is the meaning that you assign events. The meaning that you assign events. So someone could come up to me, actually I'll use an example of approaching a woman. So I'm out here in Kelowna, BC, and there's some beautiful women out here. I find the West Coast, by the way, has more beautiful women than anywhere in Canada to me, and I've traveled around pretty much everywhere. Toronto might have some nice women, I haven't really been to Toronto, but West Coast is where it's at, if that's what your thing is. Now, I do lots of work with guys where we're doing cold approaches to women, cold approaches to businessmen to try to build better relationships. You can't build a relationship if you don't have a conversation to start off of. And you can't expect hot women to come approach you. You can't expect businessmen that are ahead of you to come approach you, right? Because you're starting, at least in the businessmen in that landscape, below them. And so they're not going to want to, approach you most likely. And women, it's very uncommon that a woman will approach you. Usually the man has to do that. And so you have to learn to approach. And so, I'm going out and I'm approaching and I'm walking downtown Kelowna and, it's a sunny day and, I see this woman over there and, I decide to go approach her. And what you'll find is some women will be open to you and some women will not. And when they don't, and they don't want to talk to you, that can really hurt. But the only reason it hurts is because you have a belief that says them not wanting to talk means that I'm a bad person. Them not wanting to talk means that, I'm not a worthy man. Them not wanting to talk, it has something to do with me. But really, them not wanting to talk, that's very likely just them having a day where they just want some time to themselves or they don't feel aligned with your energy. It doesn't mean that you suck. It just means that they're not interested. It doesn't have to be so personal, okay? So the second thing you want to use your free will on is you want to use it to change your beliefs, okay? And then the last thing is you want to use your free will to change your action, all right? So this is about choosing your thoughts and what things mean, and then which is going to affect how you feel. And you want to choose better action as well, which is also going to affect how you feel and the results you get. So action. Say your business partner or your spouse or your girlfriend is just pissing you off, okay? And you feel so much anger, right? You feel angry. What are you gonna do with that anger, right? It's like you might wanna go through these first 2 steps, but ultimately it's what are you gonna do? Now, when I would get angry in my relationship, I would never be able to communicate. I almost always made things worse when I was angry. So what actually helped me, an action I took was to go for a walk for 15 minutes just to burn off some of that anger, just to express it and to release it. Maybe make some sounds to just release it. Maybe yell a little bit or express some roars just by myself. And that was an action I took that helped. Now, I did not do that every time. And I actually took the action of projecting that anger back onto my partner and it caused disconnection. So big sad face. And so you want to just take a look at in your life, in any given moment, you can do one of these 3 things. You can change what you're noticing, You can change what you're believing about the situation, or you can change your action. If you can't change your action, then just change how you're perceiving things and you can start to make yourself feel better. And then what happens is pretty cool. You start to do this process enough, you start to actually change the frequency of energy that you're vibrating at. Your energy starts to get higher and higher. You start to attract better people in your life. You start to live in a world that's a beautiful world, not a scary world. And you start to create better causes and effects. It's beautiful. All because you use your free will to make these 3 great choices, and you're just this vibrating dude living a great life, okay? So my question to you is, how can you use what you've learned here today and apply it in your life? What can you specifically change? What's something you can stop focusing on that you've been focusing on, right? If you've been focusing on all the debt that you have maybe financially, why not start to focus on the opportunity of living in this country and start to focus on the business that you can build? Because like they say, worrying is just praying for what you don't want. Why worry? Why focus on the negative? Why focus on the shitty things that have happened in the past? Right? Focus on it, deal with it, and move on. Get to that next exciting stage of life, right? So what are you going to do? How are you going to use it? Write this down. If you enjoyed this, by the way, please like, subscribe, and tell everybody you fucking know about this channel, because this stuff is life-changing. We were not taught this in school. We were barely taught this in school, and barely taught this in school. And we were not taught this in school. And it's stuff that really, truly is so valuable. So if you want to make some shifts in your life, if you want to live a more wealthy, amazing life, and take advantage of the laws that God gave you, or the universe gave you, or source gave you, or that life gave you, these are things that all of us have. It's not just for me or somebody else. You have access to all of this. We're all equal in that way, right? And so what are you going to use? How are you going to shift your life? Hope this was valuable for you, my friends, and we'll see you on the next video.